Good morning, I'm Sally Barker. Welcome to Local Business Focus. Joining me this morning is Martin Ball from Sexy Water, proud station sponsor. Good morning, Martin.
Morning, Sally.
Now, today we're talking about dehydration. Can you tell us a little bit about what we don't really know?
Well, the big thing around dehydration is obviously how it affects the organs, which are critical to obviously human function. So many people think that I drink enough water. I get a lot of people that we speak to actually only drink around about 1 litre to 2 litres a day, if that. A lot of people are drinking, caffeine through coffee, through tea, energy drinks and things like that. So obviously they help increase the dehydration process. So we've got to be careful as in what we're consuming. We've mentioned before about waters actually being acidic and they cause a dehydration as well within the body. So we need to make sure that our bodies are thoroughly hydrated through drinking enough water, but more importantly, quality water is really important.
So what happens to our body when we're dehydrated? Are there signs that we can look out for?
Yeah, there's some of the common ones that we know of are obviously when we go to the toilet for a wee, checking urine. So obviously the darker, the yellower it is, the more dehydrated you are. That's probably one of the easiest states. The couple of other ones are headache. So a lot of people that we speak to, I've had a headache before, I'm sure you have, and I've taken Panadol as well. But like what I always say to people is your body's not Panadol deficient, it's dehydrated. And it's another way of it crying out to you and saying, please, please provide me with what I need. The most important nutrient I need is water. So it's really important that we're listening to our body. We can notice with our energy levels as well. We'll start to fatigue. That's a good sign. So especially around long-term effects of not getting enough water in. I use the grape and the raisin analogy. What's the difference between a grape and a raisin? And when you look at the raisin, it's all shriveled up and dry, and it's basically hydration. So I often say to people, if you don't look like a shriveled up raisin, you need to make sure you drink enough water and not be dehydrated.
Okay, so that's a good tip. Well, there are 3 good tips there as well. But if we've noticed those kinds of things, what's happening inside? They're the outward signs. What's happening inside?
Yeah, good question. Well, basically what's happening is when we're not hydrated enough, then our organs start to shrivel up, especially the brain. And obviously if our organs are shriveling up, then they're not able and capable to do the function that they were intended to do. Now, clearly we mentioned earlier about the headache would be one of the first signs. So with the brain shrinking, then we're not able to function properly, and that can lead to some serious illnesses and diseases as well when we start going down that road, because the body's having to work a lot harder. And when we put the body under that stress, then that's when obviously illness and disease is waiting to creep in. So there's quite a few things that can take place. I mean, we've seen in people in only a matter of small percentage of dropping in hydration levels can actually affect physical performance, mental performance, especially around that clarity. So throughout the day. But what we've noticed as well is that those people who hydrate regularly, they're energized more, they're able to think more, the mental focus continues a lot longer. I mean, my business partner there, he's constantly on about hydration, and he drinks a lot more water than he's ever drank now. And he says, I've gained an extra 2 hours a day from mental focus, which is very, very big, in today's world as well, because everybody's time poor, everybody's super busy and running around like crazy. And we do tend to fatigue very quickly towards the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So it's a few, I suppose you could say, studies we've done with people where we've been doing questionnaires. We found that a lot of people will start the day off with a coffee, which is clearly a diuretic, and that's causing more dehydration because usually people have had a good night's sleep. I'm hoping between 6 to 8 hours, anyone listening to this. So your body has not actually been hydrated through that process. It's been going through the recovery process, repairing itself. So then you wake up in the morning and you have a coffee. That causes further dehydration. And they say for every coffee, you should actually have 2 glasses of water to replenish what's being lost through that. And then through the day, people get to usually like lunchtime, they have the lunch, then they go back, they have the mid-afternoon slump, and they turn to something to energize them, which tends to usually be sugar. So it'll be either like a soda, some chocolate, or maybe even coffee, more and more coffee. And because of the acidity levels of them, they cause dehydration. the body's not getting what it truly needs. And for those people who are listening to this and going, yeah, but I mix coffee with water, it doesn't count. Really important to understand that.
Yeah, I did work with a lady who never drank any water, but she said, I drink coffee.
Yeah.
That was her water intake.
That's it. And that's where some people are at, and that's fine. But it's really important to understand that the body is over 70% water. It's very important. I mean, your brain's made up of over 80% water. So as you can see, when you start looking at things like this, the skin is over 70% water. All of a sudden we go, actually, our body's really, really important. And the best way that I can explain it to anybody is when you think of somebody being cremated, you're taking somebody that's maybe 6 foot, like look at myself, and just under 6 foot. When I'm cremated, I actually fit into the palm of my hands. The rest of that is water that's been evaporated. So it's very important that people understand this. And say, look, water is one of the most important, if not the most important nutrient we can put in our body. Because we know we can survive without food. We can't survive without water.
So you gave us some really great tips of recognising if we are becoming dehydrated. Mm-hmm. Can dehydration sneak up on you and you slowly getting worse and worse and worse? And it can be a normal. Those feelings of being dehydrated is your everyday normal.
Absolutely. Basically, dehydration, if we just go with some of the common issues of today that people experience, some of the common symptoms are headaches, low energy. They're the two big ones. We find poor sleep is another big one.
So we'll take a Panadol, we'll grab an energy drink, and we'll take a sleeping tablet.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's what we're led to believe. And a lot of people, because so many people suffer with things like this and experience it, they think it's normal. And because the medication's available, then we just go, well, yeah, it's just because, it's just wear and tear of the body. And it's not the truth. It really isn't the truth. For me personally, I've seen massive improvements in my health through drinking more water a day, but more importantly, drinking the right water. But also other people that we've been talking to, they've seen massive improvements. So it can definitely creep up on you. And that's more a case of clearly not drinking enough water through the day. I mean, there's a great picture on Google of like a gallon water bottle, like a milk bottle, and someone's kindly put lines on it and said like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., as in how much should be drank. So by the end of the day, they know that they've got there. And I've got a bottle that's similar. I've got a 4-litre bottle that I carry everywhere with me. And if I get to the end of the day and it's half full, I can feel the difference. I genuinely can feel the difference. So that's the way I monitor my water intake. If I finished it and I'm wanting more, I am really energized. Mm-hmm. So it's really a case of people being aware, what are you consuming throughout the day that could be causing that dehydration, as well as how much water have I actually consumed. And as I mentioned, it's really important the quality of the water too.
Well, in our climate here in Western Australia, it's also quite important to be hydrated, but also with quality water. What about our people who are working outdoors and, in the mines and those kinds of things?
Well, that's a big one. I mean, for me personally, when I arrived in Australia, which was 8 years ago, I'm a carpenter and builder by trade, but I've been in and around the health industry over 20 years. So I was actually working in new build homes with had no water there. There was only the outside tap. And I'd go with 4 litres a day. And at that point, I was just drinking like either tap water or Brita filtered water, which is common filtration for a lot of people. But I'd get to like probably around about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and have no more water and have to go and fill it up from that tap outside and just be guzzling it down. And I actually worked in the mines for a couple of years as a health coach. So I've seen what basically a lot of people being dehydrated up there, not drinking enough water, and obviously the quality of the water isn't very good either. But it's very important that at least get it in your body. It's more important that you're getting water in than any of these energy drinks. These so-called drinks that hydrate you, that have got electrolytes in, I'm begging people to not put them in the body because they're so acidic. We've done a lot of tests on them. They're oxidizing to the body, they're acidic. And when you're putting those kind of liquids in your body, that's causing more dehydration. The only thing that's fueling you is the sugar in them. And that's why you feel better. So really important that people know these differences within the liquids that they're consuming. The best one we can at least get in our body is water in general.
Well, I think that's really important to know. And when you are dehydrated, your body's leaching from your organs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
your bones, I guess.
Well, anything that's acidic, your minerals are released from the bones to neutralize it. Your body's working very, very hard throughout the day to keep you functioning. And I often say to people, you want your body working for you rather than you working for your body. And sadly, I'd say that a good 95% of the population have to work for their body by putting these stimulants in there to help them get through the day. I know when I used to work on the building sites, there was some people would start the day off with the energy drinks. And I'd just look and think, you've just had a good night's sleep. Why would you need a coffee or an energy drink to get started? And it's become common nature now. It's just marketed so well. That's the way that people live. And we're hopefully, we're going to change that. We've got to get back to the way that nature intended, basically, for us to survive on good nutrition that was grown in seasons and obviously good quality water. So.
And children understand this. Maybe that's our way.
Children are the best. Children are the best, and it all comes down to us though to obviously help guide them. They know. I'm very, very blessed to be around some amazing people. Especially with a lot more knowledge than me, that are instilling that in the children now. Because if we don't make that change now, especially for the children growing up, then I hate to think the damage it's going to be. Because when we look at the way we are from a health point, it's horrendous where we are, and it's never been as bad, and it's only getting worse. So we've really got to deal with our health on what we call a foundational level, instead of the band-aid level, which is, in all fairness, medication, supplementation, those kind of things. They have their place, but we have to get back to basics. Yeah.
Yep. So hydrate.
Absolutely.
With good quality water.
Very important. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Local Business Focus. Martin Ball from Sexy Water, proud station sponsor.
Thanks, Sally.